Content warning. This podcast contains bones, blood, smut, and swear words.
This podcast?
Podcast.
Ye old bones, blood, and smut.
Ye old. Sorry.
Chat, are we cooked?
Act 1. Here is the graveyard, and we are the graves. Hello and welcome to the Frontline Fifth, a Locked Tomb podcast, where two brand spanking new novitiates explore the Locked Tomb series for the first time, while a couple of dried out bone witches cackle over how little they really know. We just finished reading Harrow the Ninth by Tamsin Muir, and frankly, I'm not at all sure who actually survived. What is death, really? I'm Marie, and this week Hannah and I are co-hosting our wrap-up episode while our sweet little Lyctors try and get their bearings again.
Because if anything, this book is even more of a mindfuck than Gideon the Ninth. Do you remember when all we had to contend with was a straightforward necromantic serial killer? Ugh, those were the days. So before we go any farther, I want to take a second to process what happened here. What are your big picture thoughts about Harrow the Ninth? What shook you? What surprised you?
I put bullet points.
Send it, Brooke.
Okay, overall, my overarching thoughts about this. This is a book with no winners, but I do think God could be considered a victor.
Interesting.
Ooh, that's an interesting distinction. Yeah. Can you tell us more about that?
Sure.
Like he purged all the traitors. He killed the leader of the Blood of Eden. I think God won
He's
this one.
not a winner. He lost a lot, but he is the victor. I absolutely
lost
agree
everything
with this.
objectively, but he did.
No, I'm with you.
Win the battle.
It's a bit like. Yeah, it's a bit like if you won a race, but in the process you broke your leg.
Yeah, damn it.
You're like, yeah.
I got there before John!
What just happened?
A Pyrrhic victory was...
Murray beat me to the pun based on Pyrrha.
I don't think I know that phrase.
I don't know the exact background of it, but the way that it's always used is basically you won, but at what cost?
Comes at a great
So exactly
cost.
like what Hannah said.
Wow.
Right?
This checks out.
Very
I'm here for
appropriate. Anyway, so yeah, that's exactly what I mean. As far as what surprised me, I think God dying but then coming back was actually the thing that I least expected. Because there was like a split second when Mercy killed Jod, where I was like, that won't actually work, will it? But the entire book is framed around the Emperor's murder. And so like I was very committed to his end. And it was very surprising when he came back, regardless. Was there anything else that surprised you more, John?
No, I think that was the big one. Honestly, the size and scope of this book just like expanded the universe so much that like it's hard to pick one particular thing that surprised me the most. But yeah, definitely I think God coming back was a good twist. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, X many months before the Emperor's murder.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so the interesting thing for me is that God coming back is the most jarring twist, like sudden surprise moment by far. However, the thing that like more globally like blew my mind and I just was not in a space where I was thinking about it at all was the fact that this was a river bubble with ghosts. I was so ready for this to be some sort of like denial that Harrow was in, some sort of like rewriting of her memories, and to have it actually be happening is not a jarring surprise, but is like a global like, oh my God, I have to adjust my entire perception. That's right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think the fact that we're reading like 2 chapters a week like works against that because the build up was so long that like it's actually
the only thing that feels surprising is the really big twist surprise. Yeah,
that's a great point.
Yeah, the things that happen instantly are the things that I think feel the most impact. Because absolutely figuring out that like there was a river bubble and all this was happening like in a like I remember because we threw out like 20 different things it could have been, or like we were trying to find explanations, and when we finally figure out what it is, it was like, oh yeah, like that makes sense. Like I feel like maybe we didn't give that enough due as we were working through it.
Marie, what was the thing that surprised you the most?
I'm trying to remember to like the first time that I read any of this. I think like...
Oh, you never forget your first time.
Yeah, exactly. I think I just blasted through it so quickly and got to the end so quickly without truly processing or understanding anything that was happening.
Sounds like a lot of people's first time.
And then he walks away.
Mic drops.
I'm trying not to laugh directly into the microphone at my own joke.
Anyway.
Do it.
Yeah, it's just like all of the surprises were just like mind-blowing, which is not like your first time usually. Anyway.
Hopefully you know what you're doing going in.
We have filled our smut quota for this episode.
Let's move on to bones.
I don't think so.
I mean, maybe we've also filled our bone quota too.
Oh my God, John.
Maybe. It's not everybody's first time. Okay. So, things that surprised me was like God dying and coming back, like the fact that Wake shows up, the fact that Gideon shows up, and they're like, holy cow, like all the Lyctors freak out over that. The fact that it's a bubble and Nonius comes back.
Nonius, that is a weird pull. That's such an insane pull. Ugh.
The runner-up for me, I think, is the dad joke. Also, just like, because that was incredibly shocking and also like confirmation of so many theories. But yeah, I think it's God comes back, dad joke, and then just, the river bubble as like an overarching story. Like, there's the format of this impacts it for us, at least.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think the other thing too is just kind of like the preview of like, oh fuck, I'm going to be completely and totally lost again. Because you get that little preview chapter of what Nona is going to be like. And you're like, excuse me?
You're right. Getting to that chapter, I'm like, I'm sorry, what's going on? Where are we now? We've just completely taken a different turn into an entirely different genre of fantasy novel. Yeah, if I had read this as I typically read, which is sit down and read it in one day, one sitting, pretty much, and yell at anybody who tries to make me live my life. I can see what you're saying, Marie. It just comes at you one after the other. It's like, how do you choose one surprise? Literally, constantly, I was being thrown off.
Yeah, I'm going to be very interested to see, because we're flipping this on its head for the fourth book.
Wait, I don't think anybody knows that yet.
Oh, edit it, cut it.
You haven't told the main feed. Wait, when did we talk?
Well, let's spoil it now.
Yes.
Okay, so if you are not already aware, basically we're going to continue our fabulous setup right now where Marie are dried out bone witches for Nona the Ninth, and then hopefully we're going to time this such that when Electo the Ninth comes out, Brooke and John are allowed to speed read it, and Marie and I will have to go like 2 chapters at a time doing rampant speculation, being rebirthed as the fucking newbies. And I am both excited and horrified.
I'm absolutely horrified at the fact that, like, I will have been waiting for this book for longer than these two knew that this universe was even existed. And I'm going to be the one who has to wait to find out what happens.
Somehow I feel like Tamsin would appreciate that.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, we're going to be given the unenviable task of trying to dig out memes without having years of internet discovery.
We'll still have, Marie can be our meme queen. That's fucking fine.
John will read it 7 times and find them all himself. Yeah, so what was your ultimate point about this?
Yeah.
Why did you bring this up?
Oh, sorry, yes. It's just going to be interesting to see how that like impacts your reading of this, like in a similar way, like to the big surprises versus like the sudden surprises, right? Because I think it's the big surprises, like the big sudden surprises felt more like surprises for us because we weren't ripping through the book. And I'll be interested to see if you guys have the same thing.
Yeah, John, we're going to have to like do this in like a true style, which is read it from beginning to end and like keep notes about like first read reactions.
You guys are going to have an episode before the season starts that just the two of you talking about like immediately after you finish it and don't go back and reread anything.
Yeah, I'd be like, okay, what did we get out of this?
Yeah, we also got to work on our poker faces. I have a terrible poker face, so like during rampant speculation, I might just walk off screen. Yeah.
The other option is always to just pick a ridiculous face and just make it the whole time.
Yeah.
Love it.
All right.
So that's about surprises. I also wanted to talk about how this book also still kind of felt like a prologue. Like at the end of Gideon the Ninth, we talked about how that felt like a prologue to this next book. But to be honest, this book also felt like kind of like a prologue in that like we got like one plot piece, which was basically fake death of God and death of all the OG Lyctors. Like really not much plot happened in this book, to be honest. So either these books are way more about just exploring complex relationships and not like really about the adventure plot, despite the fact that we've got this insane like world being built and John and I spending a lot of time trying to figure out what happened in this world and what's going to happen next.
I think you hit on a theme of like maybe why I like these books so much is that you are not being explained a universe. Like there is not exposition in this book. And when there is, it's like pretty funny because it's things like Gideon listening behind a door. And that's how you get your exposition. There's an interesting conversation to be had about unreliable narrators in Gideon and Harrow, but they're not unreliable in like the usual technical like definition of it. They're unreliable because either they don't care. It's like if you put an artist at a physics convention.
How much they'll learn. They're not going to report back to you like useful information about physics.
Yeah.
Right. Because they're not focused on that. Right. And that's like what it is to be in the unreliable narrator position in Gideon. Right. But in Harrow, it's like, what if the unreliable narrator is because they literally can't access information that you need to understand what's going on? That's what real life is.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about this before, that it's like an ignorant narrator.
Yes.
And I think you've totally hit on it, Marie, that like one thing that's kind of neat about this is that it is got kind of a real life thing going on. Everything feels very important when you're in the moment. And then if you look back at like what actually happened over the year, you're like, not much. And everything is a prequel. Like literally anything you're experiencing, no matter how important and exciting and dramatic and painful it is literally the prelude to what's going to happen next. And like the plot is always moving forward. It's always the past. And Nona ends up feeling like this too. Nona, it feels like, for me, Nona feels like such an interesting insight into a world. And then you immediately move on from it again. Like I think this is a very Tamsin thing, this thing of like a deep focus on a short period of time with people's lives and their interactions. You're exactly right that it's about these complex relationships. I think it's really, in many ways, I've said this before, but I think these books have kind of a meditation on love and what love looks like.
Yeah, I think that's like when you go back and read them again, it's less about the plot and more about what does the plot tell you about human relationships.
I can't necessarily say that I find them relatable.
No. Well, I guess
I do.
Yeah. The more that I think about like they're not straightforward, there's a lot more of a spectrum of the relationships than when you look at them from a very heteronormative lens.
If you take it as meditations on love, it's a reminder that love doesn't always look clean and stereotyped, that every single relationship is different and every single relationship is a, minimum of two complex people, actually trying to relate to one another.
What else did you want to talk about, John, on reflecting on this book?
This is why I should take notes. I had something and it's gone.
You got derailed.
You know what? Random moment, you can just shut down the podcast and be like, I'm talking now. Okay. Because we do that to you a lot.
Dangerous to give a white guy that power, but sure.
Explicit permission granted.
Yeah.
But instead, let's do a mini game. So quick answers, no thought. What was your favorite moment? I know mine. It's Commander waking up inside. Forgive me if I got that wrong.
That's solid. I like literally am still not over you make soup. I think that might be my absolute favorite moment. Like she's trying to think about what's in the soup. They're like, oh, what meat is in here? And she's like, marrow. And he explodes. And I'm like, yes.
I'm going to go with actually two, though, like whole writing of the chapter when Gideon is finally back in the driver's seat and just
That's
the
mine.
like incredibly complicated, sad, but hilarious writing.
Yep, that's mine.
And then on a personal note, obviously it's when they summoned Nonius. When Nonius showed up, I was like, no fucking way.
Oh my God.
The face that your wife sent snapping you reading that chapter is what is going to be, or what has already probably at this point been posted on TikTok.
Great.
What's your favorite Easter egg?
Oh my God, mine was when it said that this is when we first hear Harrow hear Ortus Nigenad and say Ortus Nigenad. And it says God made like a face like he was trying to work out a complex anagram. And Gideon is in Ortus Nigenad. It's
Yeah,
not.
well, can I also say, you and John figured that out, and I'm still like mind blown
That's
that
because
Gideon
we sat
Saturn
for like
is in
2
there.
hours and like just dug through those chapters for hints.
Not once did I think that might have been
No.
yeah, that is completely
I think it may have been John who was just who like noted the anagram thing, and I was like, wait, maybe this is an anagram. Like, holy shit.
Weirdly, my favorite Easter egg on a reread is all of the notes about Giddy One's eyes when they're dark versus green, and every time Giddy One has a cigarette. Because it's just this thing that, like, I now see Pyrrha, but it was invisible to me the first time I read it. I was like, it would never have occurred to me there were two people in there. And it's like very, very clear if you go back through each moment where Pyrrha is present.
Yeah, I was actually doing a reread of some parts of the book to just go when we were doing part of our upcoming games here, and it is just funny to me because Saint Patient says that he cultivated a smoking habit just to impress Pyrrha, and now that like Pyrrha is getting a cigarette is just hilarious. So like Augustine smokes purely to impress her, and then like she asks for a cigarette at the end is hilarious, which might actually be one of my favorite Easter eggs.
I think that my favorite Easter egg is just Gideon popping up and being pissed about Harrow not understanding like what the end of a sword is called. Like just all the time where she's like, pommel.
Pommel moments are very good. They're great.
And then all the
Still
other
the
ones
pommel.
all the other ones where you can just like be like, oh, that's Gideon talking about Harrow to Harrow about like, you know, you're such a little bitch when you're angry and like things like that. And you're just like, wow, she's there.
Okay, and now the most important question of all. So what is your favorite word from SAT prep? It could be molience, gaucherie, scald, apodium, importunate, spinal, lacerate, cinerus, bilious, mediastinum, somnolent, necalagnic, fillet, appendicular, ovine, tumultuous, spurious, tessellated, prodigious, aggrieved, fervid, nonpareil, hessian, gyre, gracile, irascible, pellucid, bloody red, carmine, pinkish, cherry, cerise, apostate, tergiversation, stolidity, puerile, befuddling, redolent, rattled, tympanic, fretted, susurrus, fossa, foible, fuller, thenar.
Bars. But my answer is cinerus. I love that word. That's a great word.
It's my favorite too, actually, John. I saw that you wrote that down and I was like, God damn it, cinerus was mine. It's such a good word.
Spinel. Mostly because it came up again when I was reading the Broken Earth trilogy.
Sorry, I noticed that too because I was also rereading the Broken Earth trilogy and saw
page.
I know.
And I was and it's every single time. It's funny because both times I have read this book and both times I have read those books, I have had to do the thing where I click on it on my Kindle and I'm like, what the fuck does this mean? But it's like a red gemstone, right? It's something like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a red
Cool.
mineral.
Mine is molience.
Ooh.
Rolls off the tongue.
It's a little onomatopoetic,
Feels right.
but in like a vibes way.
Vibes onomatopoeia, which is not a thing. Now that we've got that out of our systems, let's do a deep dive in our Harrow the Ninth wrap-up episode, Dying is for Suckers.
Act 2. Commander, wake me up inside. So I think what makes this book so absolutely chaotic and difficult is the constant dichotomy and fight between reality and unreality, right? So I personally don't think Harrow was ever insane. Everything she experiences is real. It's just largely not happening in a way that anyone else can experience. It's not happening on the mortal plane. And I think we should take a minute to go into one of the biggest mindfucks of the book, which is Commander Wake. So throughout her time in the bubble, Harrow is seeing these violently scrawled notes that nobody else can see. And when you read them as individual pieces, it means nothing, to the point where like the first several times I read this book, I just like skimmed over them. I was like, yeah, another crazy note. But together it really tells a story. So Marie, do you want to like help us dive through this?
I would love to. This is one of my favorite things. Is one of the things that made me start being so obsessed with this book as well is like, you guys actually, I think, have a pretty good handle on this because you've read it so
Thoroughly.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until I'd read this a couple of times and then watched a video explainer that I realized everything that was happening with Wake's soul. So let's just like quickly go through that part of like where Wake is. So Wake stays in her bones. Like she flutters down the shaft with Gideon in an incubator, dead, and she stays in her bones on the 9th. At some point, when Gideon is visiting her niche, she jumps to Gideon's sword, and Gideon carries her around for quite a while. We don't actually know how long it is, but at some point in Gideon's teenage years, when she's given her two-hander, Wake jumps to the two-hander. When Gideon dies, Harrow takes up the two-hander. We're not like, we have theories on this about like maybe at some point she feels like there's something in the sword, or she's tried to put a piece of Gideon in the sword or something. And that is why the sword is important. Like, this is just like us spitting theories. We don't actually have evidence for this. But in any case, Harrow is carrying the sword around and the sword hates her. And the sword hates her because the sword has Wake's soul. Wake, in this closeness to Harrow and being in the sword, Wake starts to haunt Harrow and causes her to pierce Kitharea's corpse so that Wake's soul can jump to Kitharea's corpse. And so now Wake is actually puppeting the Kitharea zombie. And so when the corpse is moving, that is Wake. And also that is why it's probably Pyrrha who's having this weird moment with the Kitharea corpse, because she knows it's Wake.
Pause. Is it still necrophilia if you are in a consensual relationship with like a ghost
puppeting
in a dead body
a
of
corpse?
a different, yeah, that's a tough one. I think there's layers there, you know? I feel better about it personally than just, you know, non-consensual corpse.
And then again, because things are complicated, Wake in Kitharea corpse does try to kill Giddy 1, and that's the moment at which Pyrrha tells Harrow how to protect herself. And then at the very end of the book, Wake in Kitharea's corpse chooses not to kill Gideon and in fact save her from Mercy. And of course, this is Gideon in Harrow's body. Before she goes off to confront Jod. And then eventually Pyrrha comes by and finishes her off, apparently.
Catch all that?
Yep.
There's one point you didn't mention anything, which is why was she under the fucking bed?
Still
God,
no
we still
fucking
don't
clue.
We really don't know. That's a mystery.
Still a mystery to me.
Creepy.
Don't know if it's an important mystery or not. I still don't understand.
All right.
Now, let's go through Wake's notes. Is it okay if I just read them all, dramatic reading style?
Okay,
Yeah.
if you want to.
The eggs you gave me all died and you lied to me. So I did the implantation myself, you self-serving zombie, and you still sent him after me, and I would have had him if it hadn't been compromised, and he took pity on me. He took pity on me. He saw me, and he took pity on me, and for that I'll make you both suffer until you no longer understand the meaning of that goddamned word. Him, I'll kill quick, because she asked me to, and because that much he honestly deserves. But you two mummified wizard shits will burn and burn and burn and burn until there is no trace of you left in the shadow of my long-lost natal son. I will remember the first time you kissed me. You apologized. You said, I am sorry, destroy me as I am, but I want to kiss you before I'm killed. And I said to you, why? And you said, because I've only once met someone so utterly willing to burn for what they believed in, and I loved him on sight. And the first time I died, I asked of him what I now ask of you. I kissed you, and later I would kiss him too, before I understood what you were, and all three of us lived to regret it. But when I am in heaven, I will remember your mouth, and when you roast down in hell, I think you will remember mine. The only thing our civilization can ever learn from yours is that when our backs are to the wall and our towers are falling all around us and we are watching ourselves burn, we rarely become heroes. End of the line. Falling. Oxygen can't last the distance and won't direct power from the payload. Instead, I will make you watch every moment as I get the last privilege you cannot enjoy, you bygone son of a bitch. I hope you're both as sorry as I am.
Now we have to figure out pronouns.
Because the pronouns are why this is so interesting, right? So I did the implantation myself, you self-serving zombie. That's probably to Mercy.
Mm-hmm.
I agree, yeah.
And you still sent him, which is Giddy 1, after me. And so then Giddy 1, of course, took pity on her by not killing her directly, but pushing her out of the airlock, apparently. And for that, she says, for that, I'll make you both. That's the two wizard shits, which is Mercy and Augustine, suffer. Then she says, him I'll kill quick. So she'll kill Giddy 1 quick because Pyrrha asked me to. And that much he deserves, but you two mummified wizard shits, I will burn and burn and burn. So the two mummified wizard shits are probably Mercy and Augustine. And then the note that I always found the most confusing, but it's also just like so interesting,
It's the telenovela here.
Is the telenovela,
Yeah.
which says, I remember the first time you kissed me, the first time Pyrrha kissed me. And Pyrrha apologizes and says, I'm sorry, destroy me as I am, but I want to kiss you before I'm killed. And that's because I've only once met someone so willing to burn for what they believed in, and I loved him on sight. That's probably Pyrrha talking about Giddy One.
That's a big assumption, but
So I was like, I didn't automatically assume this one, Brooke, but when you read the next line, it makes more sense, right? So that the first time Pyrrha died, she asked the person killing her, which would have been Giddy One in the process of making her Lyctord, to kiss her first. And that makes sense to me. Because initially I loved him on sight, I actually wondered if it was Jod.
Mm-hmm.
Because Jod also is a person who could burn for what he believed in.
mm-hmm.
But because of the Lyctordom, that Pyrrha must have died literally right next to Gideon, presumably at Gideon's hand.
Okay, so there's no periods here, so I have a hard time delineating. Is this the implied period in this sentence? Is
I think so, yeah.
Pyrrha is saying, I've only once met someone so utterly willing to burn for what they believed in, and I loved him on sight, and the first time I died, I asked of him what I now ask of you.
Yes.
Which, now we have a mysterious, what is that she asked of you? I guess, destroy me as I am?
Kiss me.
Kiss me first before you kill me.
Oh. Whoa! Brutal! Okay.
Sorry. The pause.
Brooke and I spent a lot of time trying to work through these notes, and this is the one that screwed us up the most. We couldn't figure anything out with this.
The pronouns are so fucked up. It's really hard.
Yeah, because it's I kissed you, because she did. She kissed Pyrrha first. Pyrrha started the affair. And later I would kiss him, too.
Yeah.
It's it's two different souls. It's the same damn body. She's always kissing Giddy One's body. But the first person who she fell in love with or started this affair, love is a weird word in these series, right? But the person that she started this affair with was Pyrrha. And then at some point, Giddy One was like, wait, I'm having an affair with you? Sounds fine.
This wording makes it seem like Wake really knew from the beginning who she was hooking up with. Yeah, exactly, which I think is really, really interesting. And the other thing I think is really interesting is the change in tone here. And Wake, to me, so I'm terrified of Wake. Wake has so much control, both over herself and over her situation. But I like that in these notes, this kind of reads more human to me. You start with this very intense anger and revenge and fuck you all. And then it kind of shifts because it's not the only thing there. And to me, it's like a little bit of that, losing track, losing control a little bit and letting your real self shine through. Because this note here is just so much softer. It's a complicated memory of a complicated, maybe not love story, but something. I think she had a very real connection with these people. I think she had a very real connection with Pyrrha and Gideon. And then it becomes, it shifts from being, but it's not maudlin and it's not nostalgic, but it's thinking, it's reminiscing on these things that were important. And then it kind of pivots again to a space of being more broadly philosophical. The only thing our civilization can learn from yours is that when our backs are to the wall and our towers are falling all around us and we are watching ourselves burn, we rarely become heroes.
Yeah.
Just with this vibe shift again. So this philosophical thought about what it means as a society when things shift and the ways that we make ourselves human and inhuman. And then at the end, it becomes very clinical. And that to me, makes a lot of sense. You're about to die. And, you could either go passionate anger or you could go, which she does a little bit, but it's also very clinical. End of the line. Falling. It reads like a telegram. It's the first time actually she uses a lot of punctuation in any of her notes.
We have this whole conversation where we were trying to figure out why the river bubble was getting so pregnancy coded.
Mm-hmm.
Because that isn't something it's not like Wake was happy about the pregnancy, but also she herself was haunted by the memories of the pregnancy, and basically that's how she died.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it says she was compromised, right? I would have had him if I hadn't been compromised.
Yeah. All of that, her very last dying moments revolve around the birth of this child.
And the 9 months leading up to it are full of her obsessing over this, more than the 9 months ahead, because she presumably had to do all sorts of injections to get to make sure that the implantation actually worked, right? It's just this obsessive focus of one thing that's controlling your whole body. And you think about it every single day, every single moment, and then you die.
So speaking of, is that what she's talking about when she says, I will make you watch every moment as I get the last privilege you cannot enjoy? Is she talking about the last privilege being death?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Which
Just
I think
Lyctors can't
brings
die.
up some interesting questions, though. But like,
Maybe
can
it's
they,
the
or what is
afterlife?
death to a Lyctor? I
Yeah.
have no idea.
Or maybe there's a sense that they don't get the afterlife since they are Lyctors and have committed some sin sort of situation.
That's true. What happens to a Lyctor's soul?
Since it's not like a pure soul, yeah.
Well, we know what happened to Augustine.
Yeah, Augustine got sucked up.
But that's the thing, like when you go through like how all of the Lyctors died, most of them have died in weird ways.
Yeah,
Black
sucked into
hole.
a black hole, dragging a resurrection beast into the stoma,
Cassie died in the river.
torn apart.
And Gideon died in the river.
The only one we've watched like die, kind of like quote unquote a normal person, is Cytherea.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, or ostensibly Mercy, who gets exploded by God.
Yeah.
With either of them, we have no idea what happens to their souls, right? We only
Right.
know what happens to their body. So we actually really have no idea what the end point is there. I think it's a good question. The other weird little thing I wanted to draw your attention to, so this is just like one of my pet theories. This is not something that's confirmed in any way, shape, or form. But I think it's really, really interesting that she says, in the shadow of my long lost natal son. Because so either she is indeed just a very charismatic leader who took over BOE and like made them strong. There's a part of her that reads to me as resurrection, though.
I think I said the same thing at some point.
Yeah.
So like you and I, Brooke, were on the same page.
I dwelled on that same line and I was like, this sounds like somebody who got resurrected. But I
Right.
agree that it's not.
I think this kind of feeds into our mega theorem about like God going on vengeance against all the humans that like left Earth, like at some point, like all of humanity still views like the solar system as theirs from the reading of that, and like they have to flee because of like necromancy and shit, or like what we find out at the end is like God maybe nuked the entire Earth to like kill 10 billion people to do whatever he did to ascend. So like I feel like, again, and we talked about this I think last episode or 2 episodes ago, like Blood of Eden, like what if it's like a literal name, as in like it's the people who like fled from Earth, which was Eden. It was like they view it as being ruined by necromancy or something along those lines.
Well, there's something interesting that Jod says earlier when he tells Harrow that Blood of Eden exists. And she says, who was Eden? And he said somebody that they left to die. Once you leave something behind, you have no more claim to it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, we definitely have competing stories about how Blood of Eden
Came to
exist.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And who's the good guy? Who's responsible for each of these things?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's very interesting. I also actually think it's a small thing, but I think it's really interesting that she refers to necromancers as zombies and wizards. It's just like not the terminology that would have been obvious to me, but it's interesting. And I don't know if you remember, but actually when Jod and Wake are having a conversation near the end of the book, you know, she's saying all sorts of things about, you know, fuck up wizard necromancers. And he's saying, don't start that because I have better PR than you do. And I have any number of tiny necromantic toddlers that I can show on posters clutching their first bone, right? It's interesting because he says, don't spout bigotry. And
Yep.
it's this weird combo of like, where do you draw the line between what is straight up bigotry, you're just born a necromancer or not,
Yeah.
versus like feeling like this society has caused serious problem and is oppressing you in a fundamental way. It's kind of interesting.
I mean, yeah, it felt very much so like almost like a comic book plotline, or like X-Men, right? Like where you're dealing with that, like in a lot of ways, where it's like there's constantly
Mutants.
but like, yeah, I mean, like at its core, and we'll necromancy is just magic, right? Like, and so like calling them wizards makes sense. Like it's just another word for a magic user. And then like the zombie thing is because, you know, they basically come back to life, right? They're resurrected.
Yeah.
That's all zombies are. It's just mindless resurrections. Yeah.
Thank you, because I think you helped me like lay my finger on why I think this is interesting terminology, is that for us, wizard is a fairly innocuous word and necromancer is an evil word. But because the 9 houses have adopted necromancer as a like common normal word, it's flipped in this world so that like BOE sees wizard as like a slur rather than, and necromancer is the technical term. Like if you were being polite to these people.
Mm-hmm. That's funny.
Yeah, that's a good point.
All right. Well, Wake is not the only wild character, so I do think we should take a moment to return to our most favorite of games.
Oh no.
Act 3, choke me, daddy. whole week is just full of personalities, so it's important for us to take it back to that third house classic party game, Fuck, Marry, Kill, or Resurrect.
Oh, shit.
Maria, are you going to do the same thing where you edit in what our previous picks were? Oh, God. Okay. The first rehashing, when we did this for Gideon and ran it back, it was a train wreck.
It's going to be a train wreck again.
That's the entire premise, you dumb fucks.
I'm fairly sure they laughed at us, or they chose extremely different ones than us for the third set of these, especially. Yeah. So here we go.
The third set, that I saw it on like Mike and was like, fuck you, Hannah, for that third set. That is awful.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
I remember you guys chose extremely different choices than us, so we were clearly off the mark.
Right.
Yes. Okay,
well, let's send it. Let's
start
do it
out. Okay. So FMKR, we've got God, the Saint of Patience, the Saint of Joy, and the Saint of Duty.
I'm killing God because I don't need no God. I'm marrying the Saint of Joy because that's what I want. And I'm fucking the Saint of Patience because that sounds fun. And then we'll resurrect the Saint of Duty.
Lover.
Yeah. Brooke, what are you going to do this time?
Oh, I don't know. Let's see. I am going to... It doesn't matter if we can't kill God.
We're going to try.
We're going to assume it works. All right. Kill God.
Yes.
Yeah, we kill God.
Correct.
That means I get to fuck, marry, resurrect, duty, joy, patience. Oh, that's a tough set. Who do I want to marry? That's the biggest one there. I feel like we don't really know Gideon all that well, to be honest.
Really.
But the others are really annoying, so that doesn't seem like the best idea to marry the one you know the least about. Okay, no, I'm gonna marry the Saint of Joy. I know what I'm getting into with that one.
Yep.
I'm going to fuck the Saint of Patience and resurrect the Saint of Duty, I think.
Seems valid.
We're marrying the Saint of Patience, we're fucking the Saint of Joy, we're killing the Saint of Duty, and we're resurrecting God.
Ooh.
How about you, John?
We're killing God. We are... oh, God, actually.
See, it's not.
No, all right, yeah. We're marrying the Saint of Duty, we're resurrecting the Saint of Patience, we're fucking the Saint of Joy, and we're killing God.
I'm just going to say that is also my choices as well. We're already murdering God, so I'm going to kill God. That's fine. That's already happening. I'm not going to worry about it. I would resurrect the Saint of Patience. I would fuck the Saint of Joy. I really would. And that leaves marrying the Saint of Duty, and that seems fine.
That's okay.
That seems good.
So I feel complicated feelings about this.
Is that because you guys know these characters already? Yeah, I wonder why.
Okay, so here's the thing. I killed the Saint of Joy without any compunction.
Fair.
I resurrect the Saint of Duty for sure, because I would like to spend more time with the Saint of Duty. And so here's where it gets tough for me. I think I have to marry the Saint of Patience based on like what's there, but I don't think we have a good marriage.
No.
No one wants to marry God.
Here's the thing. I do kind of want to fuck God. So
say it again. You're marrying the Saint of Duty. You're fucking the Saint of Joy.
Marrying Duty,
and you're
resurrecting patience, and fucking Joy.
Okay.
So I killed the Saint of Joy without a second thought.
That's my wife!
I don't know what to tell you. That's what happens. I resurrect the Saint of Duty largely because I actually would like to know him better. He seems vaguely interesting. Mm-hmm. There's this moment when he salutes, Harrow with like I guess that might be Pyrrha. It doesn't matter. I would like to know Giddy one better. All right, so I'm going to resurrect the Saint of Duty. I'm going to kill the Saint of Joy. I'm going to fuck God because how cool is that?
No.
And then
didn't get that.
And then I'm going to marry the Saint of Patience, and I genuinely think we would,
That's
not have a happy marriage, but it would be right for us.
Hannah, you and I went down the same route, which is marry the person that's most like yourself.
Most like you.
I usually don't do well with somebody like me at all.
We all
That's
had
why I have somebody who's the opposite.
Yeah. Yeah, but you know what you're getting into there.
Let's try something a little different. We really don't know all of these people, but we know a little bit about them. So FMKR, Pyrrha, Loveday, Alfred, and Christabel.
Oh God. So Loveday was Cytherea's, and was she the one that was known to be kind of a dipshit?
No, Christabel is the one who doesn't have the intellect you'd find in a sandwich or an
Christabel
orange.
was the one who was kind of a dipshit. Loveday was the fanatic, the zealot, or something.
No, Christabel is also the fanatic.
Sorry.
Christabel is the fanatic zealot with the intellect of an orange. Loveday,
but also
honestly,
that's coming from Augustine.
Her eyes are blue.
I have the feeling from what we hear about Loveday, the impression I get of Loveday is that she's kind of a bitch.
I thought we saw her show up.
And
we got a story
overprotective.
about her showing up with about Cytherea. That was so early, and I haven't reread that.
And also, we also know that she and Cytherea like really jointly chose to try and keep Cytherea alive. Like that's her motive for becoming a lictor cav.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, we don't know a ton about Loveday.
John, do you have thoughts? Are you ready?
Yeah,
to
John,
go
let's
on
do
this?
I'm marrying Alfred because, again, I assume he's like the butler from Batman.
I like that.
And
okay, all right, I'm with you on that. Okay, marry Alfred.
yeah, we're marrying Alfred. We're resurrecting.
Fuck Loveday.
Oh, I was going to resurrect Loveday.
Oh, why?
Why? Because I feel like Cytherea was really sad. Yeah, Cytherea was really sad about having to kill her. And then I guess we're killing Christabel and fucking Pyrrha. Pyrrha.
I think that's as good of a choice as any.
Yeah.
I'm there with that.
We're fucking Pyrrha, obviously.
That seems right.
Stone Cold Fox. We are marrying. Honestly, I was kind of leaning towards Christabel because, like, Saint of Joy, right? Like that seems fine. We're resurrecting Alfred. I feel like Augustine gets another chance to bring him around, and that means we're killing Loveday.
Again, John, 100% I would go with this. I am going to go ahead and kill Christabel. I am going to marry Loveday, fuck Pyrrha, and resurrect Alfred. I absolutely want to fuck Pyrrha. I want to know what the fuss is about.
Wild.
And out of all of the rest of the choices, the only person that I think that it'd be like acceptable to marry is probably Christabel. I don't care if she's dumb. If she's sweet, great.
Wait, why don't you think you should marry Alfred? I was leaning Alfred to marry.
I'm going to marry Alfred too.
I feel like he could be talked into shit and he's kind of a dipshit. I thought
the whole point was that he couldn't be talked into shit.
No, he can. His whole deal was that he wished that he was a zealot, that Christabel was a zealot, and he wished he was.
Right.
And that Christabel talked him into something, and Augustine really believes he could have made him come around instead.
Yeah. So, that's my thing from Alfred. I feel...
That sounds like he just had his own, individual thought process, as opposed to being talked into things by the last person he talked to. I respect Alfred.
I respect Alfred, too. And I also,
I don't at all. I don't respect Alfred at all. I feel like he gets talked into shit and he doesn't have an original thought in his brain. I feel like he's the male equivalent of Christabel, but didn't have the force of passion that Christabel did to believe.
I don't get that at all.
Really
Okay,
strong convictions for having 3 sentences about
Okay, Hannah and I we're both marrying Alfred.
Yes. I also kill Christabel, and I am between whether I want to... I don't know if I want to marry Pyrrha or fuck Pyrrha. I think I want to fuck Pyrrha and marry Alfred. And that leaves me with resurrecting Loveday. For me, this is so enormously relatable, this thing of desperately wanting to believe. I don't know. So I marry Alfred. Alfred seems like a thoughtful and generous person. Brooke, who do you kill?
Christabel.
I kill Christabel as well.
And I resurrect Loveday.
Yes, okay, we're on the exact same page. Brooke and I are on the same page. I kill Christabel because I cannot stand zealotry.
Neither can I.
And also because she wants to die. And we will find out about that.
Loveday seems like a person you want on your side. If she's got a strong moral code, it sounds like.
I buy that. My thing with Loveday is it's the 4th choice because I'm obviously going to fuck Pyrrha.
Yes, obviously fuck Pyrrha.
Is anyone not? Yeah, okay, so that's, yeah.
Okay, last one. The one that is just Ridiculous. FMKR.
Unhinged.
Kitharea's dead body.
No.
Commander Wake. The
No.
Sleeper.
No.
And the two-hander sword.
No.
Which turns out that these are all just Wake.
It's all Commander
versions.
Wake.
I think this is actually easier knowing now what we know. Like we were shooting in the dark last time. Yeah.
We're still on vibes, honestly, in this case.
Yeah,
Well, I just like the idea that you fuck, marry, kill, resurrect, Wake. Like, that's what we're all gonna do. We're gonna fuck, marry, kill, resurrect, Wake.
I don't fucking know.
All right. Well, all right.
I'm not
Commander
fucking the
Wake
sword.
Commander Wake sounds like it's a military title, so I'm assuming he's part of the cohort or something. So we're definitely killing him.
Oh, wow. You have something against it, just by principle.
We're resurrecting Kithareia.
Why are you resurrecting Kithareia?
What else? Are you going to marry
She's
her dead
fucked
body,
up.
I'm
Just kill
out of
her.
options.
Kill her. We can
She's
kill her
already
and
dead.
we'll resurrect. Yeah, but it's a dead body. We were fucking dead bodies in the last one. They're all dead tabs.
I don't know what the we thing is here.
It's a little confusing. Resurrection. If you're not resurrecting them, does that mean they're still a dead body?
Yes.
We're killing Kitharea's dead body. It's not. Nothing's off the table here. all of them are options for each category, right? And then Commander Wake. I don't know. We can.
I'm marrying the sleeper and I'm fucking the two-handed sword. Or two-hander sword.
No, I'm not fucking the sword. Hell no. Hell no. That sounds so painful.
I'm assuming it's like the personification of a two-handed sword, and like, yeah, that sounds awesome. If it's a literal sword, then obviously we're gonna have problems.
Okay, I'm taking this somewhere different.
It's a literal sword.
I will marry Commander Wake, just because seems like an actual human. Maybe we'll fuck the sleeper. Don't know what that means. And we will resurrect the sword.
These are strong choices, Marie. I don't.
This is fucking diabolical, and I hate you for it. I'm going to be like Gideon, and I'm going to
marry the sword.
Marry
right?
the sword.
Sorry, you and me. We're both in on that.
Okay. Yeah. So we're going to marry the sword. We're going to kill the sleeper, I guess resurrect Kithareia, and marry Commander Wake, and that's bad.
Yeah, I'm definitely not marrying Commander Wake.
bad.
So here's the thing. I definitely kill the sleeper. Sleeper's too scary. No, but wait. We married the two-hander sword. We were marrying the sword.
Oh, right. So wait.
So you gotta kill someone.
I'll definitely fuck. I
would fuck Commander Wake.
Yeah,
Yeah,
marrying.
exactly.
No
Okay.
marrying,
Yeah,
but I would
good.
fuck.
All right,
Okay.
we and I are there.
Yeah, we're resurrecting Kitharea's body. We're marrying Commander Wake. We're fucking the sleeper, and we're killing the two-handed sword.
No.
No, what? Is
You marry the
I'm marrying
sword.
that two-hander. I'm marrying
marry
the
the
two-hander
sword.
just like Gideon.
You marry the sword. It's okay if we resurrect Kitharea's dead body. That's fine. You kill the sleeper, and you
I
fuck
kill the
Commander
sleeper.
Wake.
I kill the sleeper.
Yep, I'm with you on that. Honestly, we know Wake is a good fuck. Both Pyrrha and Gideon were in for it.
There we go.
Well, but so then the only thing we swapped with John, I think, was the sleeper and the two-handed sword, right?
No, I married Wake.
Oh, gotcha.
And that seems awful.
That's kind of like the reason none of us chose to marry Pyrrha. Like, it's just a little too intense.
Yeah.
Well, that was fun, but we can't play sexy games all the time, so let's talk war instead. Act 4. We're not on the same side anymore. Weirdly, one of my absolute favorite parts of Harrow the Ninth is the Blood of Eden memorandum at the end of the book, which, to be honest, I only discovered during like the reread I did in order to figure out the chapters for this season. So in general, it seems to be some sort of pamphlet or instructional tactical manual for fighting the forces of the Ninth House and debunking pro-House Marshal propaganda. Did you guys like this? Were you interested? Was there anything that jumped out to you about this section?
Dude, yeah. So, like, we got a pamphlet at the end of Gideon, too, right? And that was, like, a pro-house, or, like, a house, like, behavior sort of rule book, almost. Or it was a history lesson on top of that, right?
That was the Necromancer and Cav.
Right, guidebook, that's what it was. Read as
Yeah,
a
it was something like
historical, but in reality, it set off all my propaganda alarms on, like, this is how you behave.
Yeah.
And it didn't feel like true history. This particular pamphlet does not set off my propaganda alarms, just to start with. And you earlier were talking about like how it was funny she was using like the words wizard and zombie and stuff like that. But like when you lay out what a non-necromantic society is seeing and experiencing, like from their perspective, just in plain terms, it's like, well, obviously that's what they're going to be calling things. And in reality, like it's kind of a miracle to think that there could be like this 5,000-year-old organization that's been fighting against them. Like that's a really long time for a war. But when you lay out exactly what this war really looks like, you can see why it's been maintained for so long. Because think about how there's this one section where they describe necromantic abilities as horrifying and grotesque. Their power lies as much in their psychological effects as in their actual potential for damage. A severed human head is, in fact, rather less destructive on explosion than a conventional fragmentation grenade. A negative effect on morale cannot be overstated. Yeah, fucking
that's visceral as hell.
Creepy ass wizards.
Well, something I find interesting about this too is that when you read this and then you also read like the definition of Blood of Eden, you realize that it is very much like guerrilla warfare. Like these are hidden cells. They aren't like an actual like military unit.
Yeah.
They are hidden in the population. They probably aren't going to have like specific uniforms or whatever to like identify themselves, right? Like that is very much like it is from within a population resisting, but also there is like structure and military like tactics and things, but it is very much like a guerrilla. We don't have a like military machine to move forward.
Well, and the very first thing that they say in this pamphlet is always, always, always expect that you are overpowered. That like your expectation the second you encounter house forces is that they are stronger than you. And that's even if you have more people. It's like, it's very interesting to me to see the degree to which Blood of Eden may hate necromancy, but they don't degrade it. They think of it as something that is almost impossibly powerful, that it is not worth attacking anywhere that might have a necromancer if you don't know that you can kill the necromancer first. And I think that that's like very, very interesting to hear. And there's some things that I think are completely on point and other things that I wonder if they're true or not. So let me say, an exploding severed head would be a big hit on morale. It would be really fucking horrible. My question is, they kind of intimate that in fact necromancers know this and intentionally are doing psychological damage, which could be true. But I think it's also true that necromancers default to necromancy. Like that they would use an exploding severed head over a fragmentation grenade partially because it wouldn't occur to them to get a grenade out.
Yes, but the reason that it's also so frightening and fucked up, it's the same reason that when God gave his little speech as he left the Erebos, it was like, oh, this is really kind of cruel. It's like, you know, you have some value to me alive, but even when you die, I'm going to use every part of you as a weapon as well.
You will still be fighting this war after you die.
It's funny because this struck me as like partially... I don't know have you guys read World War Z?
No, but I should. You
should. It's written by Mel Brooks' son, actually.
I didn't know that.
But World War Z has this like whole thing where like it's a zombie apocalypse book written from the like very different perspectives all around the world. But one of the things they do is they talk about like the initial military and like they get overrun by zombies because they're trying to do conventional warfare. And it's like they dig tanks into like concealed cover. And they have guys wearing combat arm bulletproof vests and stuff. And it's like zombies don't have guns and don't care about like your cover. Like you just have to line, and like the end of the book is they basically just like line up like 18th century warfare like the British do and just shoot them in the head. It's just a line of guys with people handing them ammo, shooting. In a similar vein, I kind of got this where it's just like you have to employ zombie tactics against them where it's like, sure, you can kill 1,000 zombies, but if they kill 100 of your people, now there's 1,100 zombies, right? And so
right.
the issue is that like you have to be very, very careful because you're making them stronger every time you lose anything versus them.
Your death empowers them.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter.
Well, and this is interesting too because it's not just that your death empowers them. It's not just casualties on your side. Casualties on their side empower them.
That's true.
That actually you killing off,
having
even if you have no casualties
side.
On your side. Yeah, it's a serious, serious problem. And for me, this reads in a big way. Blood of Eden loves its guns. Blood of Eden uses guns. The Nine Houses do not really use guns. And instead, the standard infantry is issued a sword. And it is very telling to me that they basically make these people easy targets, that they're out there with a sword. You could snipe them off from like ages away. And so you're like, oh, this seems like a great idea. And that is actively to provide power for the necromancers. They are cannon fodder.
Did you also like this point here though? Like as soon as like you segued perfectly into what I wanted to talk about. So there's actually two things. The first thing is I think it's interesting that it is two Tartessus, Merv, and Suva wings. If you look those up, those are ancient civs. Like those are ancient civilizations.
Oh, interesting.
Like they're ancient towns, which goes with like their like collecting old knowledge to be used in ways that like maybe it is completely divorced. Like maybe they don't even realize that what that word means.
Yeah.
Something interesting about the guns is that it says the relationship between necromantic abilities and death by bullets has both been overstated and understated by most personnel. And so it says the death of a minion can be used to create a connection between the gunner and the necromancer. And the necromancer's range has been clocked at 3,000 meters using this method. So we keep talking about how why aren't we using guns? Why aren't we using guns? Why aren't we using guns? Guns don't help. Guns like point out who the sniper is. So you can't actually just use a sniper to deal with necromancy.
I also thought that was one of like the most fascinating parts of necromancy that we've not actually encountered before. That says that basically preemptively a weapon almost has like a thanergetic sense that's tied to it. And that when you kill someone with it, that thanergy link goes backwards. Yeah, yes. Which it's super wild. And also the distance fucked me up. I was like, you say we can do necromancy over like thousands of meters? That's insane.
I don't know. To me, well, and maybe you guys are right. To me, I interpreted that as simply like they know exactly the trajectory of whatever projectile entered the body, therefore they can pinpoint where it came from.
I think it goes back to like you have a thaner. That's part of the reason that like you can inhabit things. Like we learned that in Harrow, that like spirits can inhabit things that they have a thanergetic link to, which includes the murder implement. So if you've been killed by a gun, there's a link between your soul and that gun, which means that a necromancer can follow the thanergetic link between.
It made a lot more sense for a sword gun. Where it like is touching you. Like a bullet would make sense, but not the gun that the bullet came from. So that's weird.
There is something weird about it. The other thing is, again, all of these are what Blood of Eden is like interpreting from what they've seen.
Right, that's true. It's their conclusions based off of what's happening.
I think it's only weird because we don't associate guns with like fantasy and magic. Like I don't think we would have any issue with this if it was a bow and arrow. Like we would wrap our heads around that like much easier. But like guns are fancier and more modern and aren't like you know
anti-magic.
They're dystopia. Like they're things you associate with like a post-apocalyptic dystopia, but they're not things that you necessarily associate with the fantasy world. Yeah.
It's very much so like a combination Hydra and zombie problem. Like you have to cut off all the heads at once, or like you're basically not doing anything, and then also like everything that dies comes back on the other team. And so
it is a Hydra problem. Yeah,
you're basically like, if you can't kill the necromancer, don't do anything is basically the rule of engagement, and that's got to be incredibly frustrating because like they can act pretty brazen, like they throw in at the end that like they just send out unprotected patrols all the time because it's like, who cares if 5 people die because we're going to kill everyone that was killed those 5 people. It's just.
And it's interesting, too, because it requires, not only would be incredibly frustrating, but their recon must be unbelievable because they have to be able to figure out who the necromancer is. I bet they sit there looking at camps for fucking months trying to identify, if any, right? I mean, you really would have to have an incredible spy network.
Mm-hmm. Hannah, did you touch on why this section was one of your favorite parts?
I think, okay, so part of it may have been that I discovered it this read around.
Oh,
so it might have been like the first, like, I was like, this is new. Yeah, exactly. I was like, but I find it really, really fascinating to see things from the Blood of Eden perspective because everything else we encounter is really from the house perspective.
Yeah. I think it puts, to me, it's very black and white who's the good guy and who's the bad guy based off of this.
Based off of this, yes. And I will say that you are right. This doesn't read as propaganda. And in fact, we know our first like encounter with Blood of Eden and Harrow the Ninth is that they blew up several serious spaceships with, I can't remember, was it 18,000 are killed soldiers? Right?
Atomics.
I mean, they kill a very large number of soldiers using nuclear weapons. And it's basically described as though this was like just for fun, just to fuck you, because like obviously, I mean, like the house doesn't really need them. Like it's not like, it didn't seem like it impacted their military strategy in a big way, but it was like, how dare you kill all these people? And now we're seeing that actually one of the first things that they tell their own internal people, their own internal wings, that you should never be killing for the sake of killing unless you're going to make a serious impact on the houses, right? That it's like never worth it because it's simply too dangerous. That like taking casualties just for casualties isn't enough. You need to be making a large impact.
Yeah, I mean, I read it as this is like a manual to defeat them as opposed to like propaganda or anything. Like this is like purely for an effectiveness standpoint, like similar to any other military
there's
operations
no
manual.
advantage of lying to your soldiers and when it comes to tactics.
Yeah, and then like the other thing is just like, like similar to what Hannah brought up, the attack at the beginning of the book is just like a massive deviation from what this manual describes you should be doing.
Is it is it maybe a misunderstanding of what is impactful to the houses, or is maybe God lying about the impact or downplaying it? Like, I don't necessarily think it has to be a deviation from the manual. Either it could be a misalignment on Blood of Eden, thinking 18,000 people and 2 massive warships is meaningful.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess it forced God to get off his flagship and they had to send another ship to the front line. So, yeah.
That as well. Yeah, he could be.
It's also interesting to me that, so Marie pointed out that at the beginning of this, it's addressed to a specific set of 3 wings. So that means it's not addressed to all of Blood of Eden. And it means that not everybody is necessarily on the same page, which is also kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Right?
Also, when you nuke battleships, I bet you don't get the bones back. And that's pretty valuable resource for the 9 houses.
I mean, in many ways, and that's like casualty-less on the BOE side. I don't know. I just thought this was like a really interesting insight into the logistics of life beyond the 9 houses.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, before we get into our final rampant speculations for season 2, let's do one more game. Act 5, we are not intimate. After the absolute bonkers chaos of the last 8 to 10 chapters, it's easy to forget that this book, at its core, is about the beautiful friendship between Ianthe and Harrow. This is why this week's second game is Strange Bedfellows World Tour!
It's a great band
Basically, we're going to imagine how the Ianthe Harrow duo would work through various situations. So let's start with how Ianthe and Harrow win the Super Bowl.
Wait, is this Ianthe Harrow buddy cop with Harrow in Harrow, or is this Gideon and Harrow?
Yes.
Okay.
Although that's interesting. That's fascinating, but I think this is
Okay, Harrow herself.
That's right.
How are they winning the Super Bowl?
They win 1,000-0.
Harrow is obviously mobilizing her own team of players out of skeletons.
And Ianthe is absolutely sabotaging the other team.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Sticking their feet down to the ground with like globs of fat or something so they don't move as fast.
I love that. It's a whole other level than Deflategate. Like, yes, Ianthe is definitely do that. May even be like sabotaging the scoreboard so it shows higher. Like Ianthe's doing dumb shit.
See, I was just picturing like every time they have the ball on offense, like they're just surrounded by like a wall of perpetual bone, and they just like walk and score a touchdown. And then on defense, like
Harrow's just
blobs
walking
of fat
into the end zone.
Yeah, blobs of fat are just like sacking the quarterback as soon as the ball is snapped, and yeah, they win 1,000,000,000. Like they actually. They score on every play they get the ball, and they grab the ball every time the opposing team has it. They win instantly.
Yeah.
So let's do one where Harrow and Ianthe have to save the town by winning the prize at the local talent contest.
Oh, Jesus.
This is my favorite trope.
Ventriloquism.
What?
Oh, I like that. This is with skeletons or with
I think they're creating together. It's a collaborative project. We got the skeleton base, we got the flesh surroundings, and they're Harrow's puppeting this thing, and maybe Ianthe's speaking for it.
Ianthe's just moving her mouth, and then Harrow is like puppeting like the thing so that it looks like Ianthe's doing ventriloquism, but she's not.
I like that a lot.
I was picturing them running like basically doing a full like scale like Hamlet or something from Shakespeare, but like it's 90% skeletons, and then like Ianthe is like,
I love that.
That
the
would
main
work really
character.
well if the local talent contest was on the Mithraeum.
Yes.
Yeah, you could use all the bones that are dressed up in silly
Still.
outfits.
I'm a huge fan of Shakespeare with skeletons, and we should look into this for our future.
Costumes.
And I just want to add that I do think that regardless of how hard like Harrow and Ianthe work, like the populace is like mildly horrified, and so Ianthe definitely holds a rapier to someone's throat to get them awarded the final
You
prize.
might be correct, yeah.
Okay, how do Harrow and Ianthe defeat Sauron?
Can I just throw out here that I think there's no shot they're defeating Sauron, and Harrow's carrying the ring, and then Ianthe gets it for like a quarter second and becomes corrupted, and is like keeps it for herself. I don't think there's any shot they're saving
She
the
defeats
Shire.
it by becoming Sauron.
Yes,
There we
100%
go!
murders Harrow. Definitely murders Harrow in the process. Love.
Oh, whoops.
Yeah, that's how that happens. Well, I mean, if we're going to go big like that, how do Harrow and Ianthe win World War II?
I mean, I think they definitely have an elaborate Hitler murder plan. I think we're talking like they build time machines. They are, like infiltrating the bunker. And I think they probably puppet Hitler for quite a while after in order to redirect the no one.
No,
Okay,
I think you're right.
No,
I think you're right. Harrow's
but I don't
got
think they
this.
stop with Hitler. I think they do it for all of like the major. Who are the bad guys? The Axis powers. They do it for all of the. Like that, I had to point that out, and John is like dying probably. All of the major bad guys.
We got Mussolini.
Yeah, like you just kill off. Like you just have like a simultaneous assassination plot for every single leader of the Axis powers, and you're
To puppet them into
You're
peace
done.
treaties.
yeah,
Yes,
and then
I like
Harrow
it.
comes by and like Ianthe like figures out like the simultaneous like murder, and then Harrow just starts puppeting them, and then they like make a peace treaty.
I think
Oh.
we have to have a
It's over.
complexity where Ianthe is an untrustworthy partner in this.
I like a version where they like do this whole thing. They kill off the leaders. They puppet them into a peace treaty, and after that, Ianthe has to do some sort of betrayal such that like she ends up in power, like a hegemony of the entire world.
Yes,
Like, yeah.
that tracks.
I was just imagining. Are you familiar with the game Katamari Damacy? It's a.
What is that? Okay, because I saw these
Yeah,
words
that
in the
was
notes,
there,
and I was
and it
like,
was in
"What
purple
the
as though
fuck
I
does
was
that
supposed
mean?"
to say it,
Sorry,
and I was
whoops.
like, "What are we
Nope,
doing?"
that was me. I didn't change the color. So it's a game where it's like a puzzle game where you basically like roll around as a blob and you just pick up more and more stuff. Like you roll through a city and just
Like
pick
a
up.
resurrection beast.
Yeah,
Kinda, yeah.
exactly.
But I just figured like that's exactly what Ianthe does. Is like it's just a ever rolling ball of fat filled with like tiger tanks and German infantry, and it just gets slowly rolled towards Berlin until
Yes.
there's just like a giant mountain-sized ball of German army people stuck in fat, and then they surrender.
I love that, John. I actually really love, and I think Ianthe would love that.
Cleaning
she'd
up
be
our
all
city
in.
streets
That's beautiful. That's really beautiful.
with a giant fat sticky ball.
But I do think you're right. We may have gone too big, so we're going to go smaller. What would Harrow and Ianthe make for dinner together?
Oh,
Harrow doesn't eat, and Ianthe has weird taste. So
It's definitely over-salted soup, right? Like, that's it.
yeah,
It's really depressing because like being a necromancer, you could do so like your ability to like cook with meat and like make bone broth and stuff like is probably like really good. Like you can probably make some really, really good broth if you know how to cook.
Sounds like
sure.
you would know exactly how
That's
to get
not
to
happening.
medium rare on the grill.
That's
like
not
that.
happening. I think these two are obviously ordering Domino's.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
Or whatever the
Yeah.
necromancer, 9-ounce
ordering
version
Domino's.
of Uncrustables is.
Yeah, no, they're ordering Domino's. Ianthe orders pepperoni with extra cheese and extra pepperoni, and then Harrow picks off the cheese and the pepperoni.
I think you're right.
Yes. Love that. That's perfect.
Okay, so where would Harrow and Ianthe go on vacation together?
Girls trip.
Yeah, they're going to the Vatican.
I love
I
that.
think you're correct.
You know what? I think you're right. That's the only correct answer.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're
that's
going
beautiful.
into like the tombs of the Vatican and like the vaults and everything else.
Yeah, they're breaking in.
A lot of dead popes there. Well, as usual, we have a fundamental understanding of how to predict stories, clearly, as evidenced by this game. So, it seems inevitable that we pivot to rampant speculation.
Oh, wow. Giving us a little bit of a hard goal there.
Act 6. I feel as though we've had this conversation before. Well, Brooke and John, you made it through Harrow the Ninth and frankly, in the process, nailed some incredible predictions. The question is, can you pull it off twice?
And because we are kindly masters, we will warn you that Nona will defy all your expectations.
Yeah, and to clarify, when we didn't nail anything when you asked us to predict Harrow at the end of Gideon.
Oh, actually, no. John called his shot on Gideon being the child of John.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah,
that did happen beforehand. That is pretty wild.
Yeah. And I'm trying to remember if you had called that Calamities would be back. I think that's possible. Or
not
maybe you did that in the first episode.
Not until the beginning of Harrow. Yeah. What's going to happen? Okay. Nona. You've told me that this is like internet speak for no name or something, John.
Yeah, but I think it's also just like, it sounds like it's a name for like something in the ninth house, right? So it could just be...
True, non...
But yeah, I mean... That was just throwing it out there until we got to the end where the like lost character in the last chapter, like I seem to think it's Alecto and you seem to think it's Gideon in Harrow's body, right?
Yep.
Okay.
100%. I think that the last chapter, the lost character is Nona, who is resuscitated Gideon in Harrow's body with memory loss.
Well, that's a shot.
Well, okay, we're calling Alecto the body, right? So like let's like in some ways. Did we get confirmation, right? Do you feel like that's 100% that the body that's been haunting Harrow, okay, maybe haunting's the wrong word, that's been accompanying Harrow as a ghost figure that seems like she can only she can see.
Accompanying as a ghost figure, but not haunting.
Haunting has a negative connotation, and it's unclear if that was negative.
It's consensual haunting.
Yeah, Brooke's side hustle is propaganda for ghosts, by the way. Just it's not haunting. It's, unwanted companionship from a dead revenant.
Insubstantiated accompaniment. Anyway, so I'm calling that Alecto, who also I think is Annabelle Lee, who also I don't think really has a name. It seems like she's been given this name. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, and we don't know what this is. Like, is it the god of death? Alecto was one of the Furies, you said.
Yeah, I think it's just like that's the last big puzzle piece that we don't have at all, which is like
there's a missing resurrection beast. You said that too.
Yeah, we're missing an RB. We can't square like what Alecto is. Yeah, like that's just something.
I like the pause to like watch people's faces, John.
Yeah. Well, Hannah's just sitting back smiling, and your poker face have gotten better over the course of this series. You guys are locked in.
I don't know. We also shouldn't throw 3 things out in a row and then
like we're the combination of like what or who Alecto is, and also like the source of God's power. Like we've thrown out like a bunch of theories, and I don't think we've settled on one.
Yeah, and I've been very much leaning towards her being like some sort of death god because the river's messed up. We don't have gods in this world other than a fucking human turned one, so like it's a little weird to think that there is like a god figure otherwise.
Yeah.
I don't know what Alecto's shtick is. I kind of think that since we saw her at the end of Harrow, that we might see her come back in the next story. And in my head, since she was like reviving Gideon Harrow, who I think at the end of this book is with Blood of Eden, to me, maybe that means that Alecto's working against God now. If we hadn't gotten that last chapter where who I think is Gideon is with Cam, I would have assumed that Alecto was back with God and like Harrow will be continuing with them. But instead, I think the next story is going to be like a story from Blood of Eden's perspective, and maybe this is going to be like them having to like bring on a Lyctor into their midst as like an ally. That's my guess.
Yeah, I think I think it's going to be like they like woke Alecto up. They like broke, like I think Cam during the like entirety of this story like took Gideon's body and broke into the tomb and basically like executed on Commander Wake's idea, and they like jailbroke Alecto out, and like that's
say again, who took over her body?
I think Cam took Gideon's body, not took over, but like literally took it from Cannon House and like used the blood to break the blood ward and like freed Alecto. We didn't need to
do that, right? Hera already broke the blood ward when she was like 10. Do you have to break it more than once? Every time you go in, is the blood ward against you, or does it break once and then it's gone forever?
That's an excellent point.
That was my sense, that it's a one and done, but perhaps you're right. Maybe that's needed. Because, yeah, Gideon's body's MIA, and that's conspicuous.
Yeah, and then the tomb's empty, and like Harrow goes and sits in the tomb, sort of.
Although I think that's a separate river bubble, personally. And I think that gives Harrow basically a way to come back in. I think that it might not be gone forever. What else do you think's going to happen?
Well, we're going to have to figure out what God and Ianthe are off to. Like, they just like swam out of the river. They could have gone anywhere. They no longer have a space station. Yeah,
those two famously don't really get along that well, so I don't foresee that being a beautiful relationship. She's going to be like a yes man to him.
And then we have the sixth house almost got fried by a solar flare. Is there
Maybe
anything
it
else
did, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder like what the aftermath of like the ninth houses is when like if the sun went out for like 10 seconds, like what happens there? Like, oh,
I mean, that's an eclipse.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I'm hoping we get more information on like Alecto and like who or what she is. And then also like we still haven't dealt with the seventh resurrection beast, right? Like that one
just scuttled off apparently.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a weird thing. Like we didn't talk about that, but why did it peace out? Like it basically managed to kill the Lyctor and it was left with a ragtag group of whatever else. Like could have just continued on. Or do you think that it sensed that God was playing dead? I'm going to use that term as a thing of like he was never endangered by them after all.
I don't know. We'll see. What's gonna kill me is that we have like another month until we can actually start reading this book.
So well, with that, I think it's time to close out the episode. Is there any last thing you want to say before we leave behind the Mithraeum?
Oh, it's not the Mithraeum I will miss. It's the Canaan House ghosts. I think we should take a moment to mourn all these characters now that we've come to know and love them.
Yeah, big feelings.
Yeah, and the only other thing I say is I cannot believe that we've grown to the size and scope of what this is. Like we've got 21,000.
Are you going meta? You mean the podcast?
Yeah, I'm saying. Yeah, it's like we've just 21,000 downloads, like over 1,000 downloads of the first episode. Good God. Wouldn't have imagined
crazy way to like
this.
close out season 2.
Yeah.
Good riddance to the Mithraeum. On to the next.
And I will yet again reiterate that I love Nona, I love Noodle, I love the Angel, and they all love me.
I hate that. I don't know what it is. I already hate it because you did that meta joke at the end of the season 1 wrap up, and then it like you love some characters, and then I don't know who the hell's Noodle.
And Nona
who's
loves
Angel?
Noodle apparently.
Yeah.
And we love Noodle too.
Oh, God
okay,
damn it.
So Act 7. See you next time, my little nunlets. Well, looks like we've finished book 2. Before we get into Nona the 9th, we are going to spend a few weeks doing some fun inter-season episodes. So if you want to follow along with us and find our inter-season episode calendar, our reading calendars are available on our website at frontline5th.podbean.com, and you can follow us on Instagram and TikTok, which are linked in the show notes. If you enjoyed this podcast, please tell your friends and give us a 5-star rating anywhere you can. And of course, if you didn't enjoy the podcast, lie. We have a Patreon, which you can join for access to bonus content every month. You can become a patron, and they are all Corona level stunning at patreon.com/frontline5th, and you can check out our merch at our Redbubble store linked in the show notes. I just want to point out, patrons, that you have made it so that we have now broken even on the podcast, and we adore you for that.
Thank you so much.
So finally, if you have any fun theories you'd like to share with us, feel free to email us at frontline5th@gmail.com. And with that, I'll just remind you not to unlock any tombs or enter any doors without permission because, ghosts. Bye!
Frontline 5th is a Locked Tomb podcast conceived by Maria Adamako and starring Maria Adamako, Hannah Grunwald, Brooke Anderson, and John Ryan. Our cover art was designed and created by Maria Adamako, who also edited this episode. Our fabulous music was composed and recorded by Blake Anderson. Sonia Grunwald designs our killer merch. Hot. Gorgeous. The Locked Tomb series is a completely dope-ass book series by Tamsin Muir, who does not know we exist and is in no way affiliated with this podcast.
Never been part of the end of an episode before.